Hello, Suns fans. This is Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin. We have a crazy rumor to get to today and a pretty fun quote. This is the quote we're going to start things off with. Bikinis are like statistics. They show a lot, but not everything. That is from Lou Piniella, which is a familiar name, but a lot of people who don't follow baseball are like, wait a minute, wasn't that guy a Yankee or something like that? Yeah, Lou Piniella played, uh, I think he played 18 seasons as a major leaguer, and he was a pretty steady player. I mean, you don't play 18 years in the show unless you're relatively decent. He was also a pretty successful manager. I know that he won a Manager of the Year. I'm a passive baseball fan, but I like the pennant race. I like the NL and the ALCS. The World Series, usually pretty good because depending if the teams are pretty evenly matched, baseball can get really, really fascinating. Like hockey, it's like every single possession is kind of a big deal. So, but I always liked Lou Piniella, and I did get to see him not as a player, but I got to see him as a manager of the Cubs. It was either '07 or '08, and he was the manager of the Chicago Cubs. And my dad and I made a point to at least hit Wrigley and hopefully Fenway at least once in our lifetimes just to see a live game. We did hit Wrigley that year, and we got to see interleague play with the Cubs, who had God, I wish I could remember a single Cub, but I do remember the Mariners still had Ichiro, and that was really, really special. But he was always a pretty good guy. He's a fiery temper, but he seemed to have a pretty good attitude as he mellowed, and it's a great quote. Stats are important. Winning, obviously, more important. Some stats are mind-boggling, like Devin Booker's 70-point game. That's a mind-boggling stat. Rick Barry's scoring average crossing over from the ABA to the NBA, where he was almost always at 34.6 points per game through two different leagues, and he just didn't miss a beat. Certain stats are absolutely incredible, and they're cool, and you're like, that's cool, but we kind of remember the winners a little bit more, and that's just all you need to know about what really is important. And I like that quote from Lou Piniella. All right, so really quick, it's I think this is this is Monday. I have no concept of time anymore. But who went to FanFest this past Saturday, and how was it? And let me know in the comments who was there. Who did you see? I refuse to go online over the weekend. I want to know from you what happened at FanFest and what you felt about it, and was that worth it? And did anybody win season tickets? Was Devin Booker there? Did you get to meet Coach Ott? I think that's kind of cool stuff. News, more news. Suns preseason starts this Friday, October 3rd, right here in California in Palm Desert. That is near Palm Springs. It is against the Lakers, and the regular season kicks off October 22nd in Phoenix against the Kings. We're going to get more into the regular season schedule, specialty giveaway nights, televised games. I know I've glossed over them just because when they come out, but we'll as they come up and as the season is active, we're going to be like, hey, in the next 3 days, this is what's available to you live with the Phoenix Suns and all that kind of stuff. So there is a light rumor, and I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know if it's a rumor. It's just a trade possibility. And if the Suns can't get it going or don't show whatever kind of improvement, owners and management and coaches and the players themselves aren't getting. If this team, I know we have a long road ahead of us. It is a rebuilding year. I don't expect much, but I'm also optimistic to see what we got. But from a pure business standpoint, a Devin Booker trade could be a huge benefit to the Suns. Hear me out. This is just a thought. And this is a business thought. That has nothing to do with performance. This has nothing to do with anything other than what is best for the Suns in the next 3 to 5 years. Because if it has to do with Detroit, the Pistons do need an upcoming co-star. They need somebody. They need a veteran co-star to help with up-and-comer Cade Cunningham, who is proving that he was worth being the number 1 overall pick in 2021. So it goes like this. Detroit gets Book and nothing else. Remember, this is speculation. This is a thought, and we're going to really dive into this. Because I read it a few different times, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, get out of your heart and soul of the Suns. Get out of the loyalty to Book and look at it from a business standpoint and what we're going to be. So Detroit gets Booker, Suns get Ron Holland, Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris, 2027 first-round pick, 2029 first-round pick, 2031 first-round pick. Do I have to tell you how valuable first-round picks are in relatively consistent years? In 3 to 5, and starting in starting in 2 years, we would have a first-round pick, and that gives you bartering power. Or if timing works out, where that guy that's playing on Markkanen's team, for the Worlds on the team from Finland. Excuse me. That kid looks like another Cooper Flagg. Yeah, this is important to talk about. So the Pistons know that they got to strike soon to keep their good momentum going. They are clearly up and coming. Decent young core. Cade Cunningham clearly becoming a regular All-Star. He was All-NBA third team, and he was an All-Star selection, and he's just getting better. As much as it pains me to say it, and remember, I am a basketball fan as much as I am a Suns fan. Booker and Cunningham would probably be a ridiculous offensive duo right out of the gate. Booker's from Michigan also. It could take a lot of pressure off Cunningham, vice versa. You saw what Chris Paul did for Booker when Chris Paul and Booker teamed up. Booker had easily his 2 best seasons as a Sun, and incredible playoff performance. So Book is 28. He's so young, and it's so cool that we have this 28-year-old. He will turn 29 very soon, going into his 11th year, 100% in his prime, ready to bust out. I know I'm contradicting myself with trade or look how great Booker is. It's a business thought. And we have to be big boys. We got to pull up our big boy Suns pants and think about stuff like this, because there's no way I want to part with Booker. I want him to retire as the greatest Sun ever. I want Booker to bring the Suns a championship, and I want it to be clear that it was Booker that led us to a title. That's what I want. That's what I want for you. It's what I want for me. It's what I want for the Suns. It's what I want for Devin Booker. I want all that stuff, and we're looking at a 3 to 5 year window at best, which is plenty of time to put together a team around him to let him accomplish that. But Book becomes trade eligible right before the All-Star game this year. I know, it's Book. But going back to what I mentioned earlier, it's a good haul. Jaden Ivey looks like he's going to be really good. Gets over an injury. I see All-Star all over this guy. Holland looks like a serious 3-and-D threat if he can up his percentage, which is realistic. I know we have Ryan Dunn. It's sort of the same player. But remember, it's a business decision, and these are guys that, they work with us, they click with us, great. If not, they're bait for something else, maybe even moving up, maybe even getting another first-round draft pick. And we all know about Tobias Harris, a lot of empty stats, which I really don't think is a fair thing to say. If somebody's putting up 20 and 9 rebounds a game, how is that not helping you? How is that not helping you? Maybe timing has something to do with it. That's why a lot of people say Russell Westbrook is a stat patter and an empty stats guy back in his prime. I don't know. Westbrook seemed to make the playoffs pretty consistently, and his teams usually would contend. So how is it empty if you're getting all this stuff and your team is going into the playoffs? Tell me I'm wrong. Harris is also a good veteran fit for the Suns. We don't need him, but he'd be a great flip or a package to something else. Once again, maybe for draft picks. I'm kind of in that whole, we really do need a draft pick space, and this is one way to get one before this coming season is over. None of what I said is happening, okay? And I remain optimistic about what's being built in Phoenix. Again, it's not going to happen right now. It's not going to happen this year, but I am curious, and it is fun, growing pains notwithstanding, losing games that you're just like, these guys just aren't ready notwithstanding. It is fun to see a team in the process of a good and positive non-tanking rebuild, and I really do believe that is what's being built in Phoenix. But this is still a business, okay? And remember, the Suns let Steve Nash go. The Suns traded Charles Barkley. The Suns traded Paul Westphal. The Suns traded Dennis Johnson. This is a business. A lot of other great players have been traded, let go, waived. It just happens, and you got to be smart about these things. And our only asset right now is Devin Booker. Just take it to heart and don't freak out. He's still on our team, and he's not going anywhere. Let's get to your comments. At BYB Boxing, dude, I love the fact that you always have a cool take. I love the fact that sometimes you're incredibly critical of me, of the Suns, of all this stuff. Sometimes you are incredibly positive, but either way, I appreciate you commenting. It's really nice to always see your handle come up, and it's like, cool, I wonder what BYB Boxing is going to say. So I appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you everybody for commenting. You said, I love having Nash back. As he takes the time to teach the point guards, we should definitely see a rise in their value within the first few weeks of the season. 100%. And can we just not mention Coach Bud anymore? He was never going to be a fit for the Suns at all. I was excited when I heard his name coming. I don't know. Was Antetokounmpo and the rest of the Bucks so good that they could have done it without a coach? I don't know. I like the fact that he was local. We were hoping to get Giannis with him coaching the team. I don't think Giannis liked Coach Bud that much. I agree. I think Nash being a constant presence with this young group is a complete positive. It will only help. Just Steve Nash in the building. You know, these young guys, they're going to play it as cool as they can. They're excited. because that's a legend walking around and working with you and talking with you and knowing your first name. That is uplifting. And I'll continue to rip on Coach Bud, who lost the team and gave up. Never going to happen. Hammered on, Phoenix. Faith in oneself is the best and safest course. Michelangelo. Well, aren't we smart? That's a really good quote. Yeah, believe in yourself. And also from Hammered Don PHX, I think Tom Chambers is a top 10 son of all time. That's fair. Who you kicking out? Let me know. But you've been watching them a lot longer, so I'll defer to your judgment. Look, it's not about watch. It is about watching and seeing guys live will change your trajectory in your head as far as where a guy belongs on a greatest ever list. There are people today who say, Larry Bird's maybe top 10. Sorry, man, I saw him play live a bunch of times. I saw him destroy teams. I saw one guy in a team sport where there's 10 guys on the court and nobody could do anything with this one guy. Even his teammates are like going, holy crap, this guy's good. I saw Magic Johnson run over the Suns in the playoffs multiple years. I saw Michael Jordan move at a whole different speed than the other 9 guys on the court. Playing with the second best player in the league, Scottie Pippen, he's still moving differently. Michael, Magic, Bird, Iverson, Shaq. I saw all these guys live. I saw Kobe live. They play a whole other game. So when you see them live, your opinion will change on greatest of all time. I saw Chambers live. Chambers was better than he is given credit for. 100% should be in the Hall of Fame. But who are you kicking out of the top 10? You know? And that's fine. And I'm literally asking you. Maybe I was 100% wrong on putting Chambers at 14. Maybe he is top 10. So don't defer to me. It's just it's a debate, and that's what Suns fans do. We debate on who are the greatest Suns of all time. That's the whole point of it. I'll have no respect for the NBA Hall of Fame until Chambers and quite a few others are in it. Really, really quick. I pretty much agree with that. I just said I did. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. It is the Basketball Hall of Fame. I've been there. Go to Springfield, Massachusetts. Make a day out of it. Just go, and then get the hell out of Springfield. It's a horrible city. But the NBA, the Basketball Hall of Fame, it's a clear distinction. There's a lot of people in there who had nothing to do with the NBA. The guy who invented basketball had nothing to do with the NBA. The NBA took his invention and became a league. So just remember that. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. And there's amazing athletes and coaches and people that help the game become what it is who have nothing to do with the NBA. Curious Mind 2525. Hello, sir. Booker has never been on a Suns team that has so many good players with chips on their shoulders. I think Chris Paul had the biggest chip on his shoulder, but I think that's just kind of what motivates him to play. But to be fair, DeAndre Ayton kind of nullified that. I thought Cam Thomas played with a chip on his shoulder, and I thought if you pushed him, it brought out the best of him, and in the way it did with Connie Hawkins back in the day. So we got Dylan Brooks, Nigel Hayes-Davis, Jalen Green, and Book have all said they have something to prove. Yes, y'all do. The Suns do have something to prove this year. I hope we get that fire on the court this year as the Phoenix rises again from the ashes. Go Suns! This is the main story for this upcoming season. I would love to see these young guys go out there and punch people in the mouth. I would absolutely love it. And for Dylan Brooks, not literally. Okay. At Sean Davis, 54-43. Kickback regarding Larry Bird. Oh, Bird was, I think, the last Suns' latest quote, how he had put in the time. And it's so hard to say this, but there's an argument for Larry Bird being the greatest player of all time. The knock on it is he didn't play long enough, and that's fair, and that's totally fine. Didn't win back-to-back titles, that's fair, that's fine. But for 3 years in a row, Larry Bird was the best all-around player in the league, the best player in the league, and nobody questioned it. 3 years in a row, 3 MVPs in a row. That, and titles, and the greatest front line ever. I absolutely love Larry Bird, and I wish he was playing right now as Larry Bird. So all these new heads would be like, oh, I was completely wrong, and Bird is top 5 all time, and I'm never backing off of that. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I digress. Sean Davis, 54-43, kickback regarding Larry Bird. Most of us Hoosiers who followed Larry Bird at Indiana State were amazed and truly believed he would be a great NBA player. No bias. I stand corrected. You knew. Absolutely. Anybody who was at Indiana State watched Sycamore games back in the day, even before the big Magic Johnson final against Michigan State. You did know. I am 100% wrong on that. You did know. out here in LA, and when I was growing up in Arizona, it took me until right up to that championship game to realize how special Bird was. But up until then, a lot of people didn't know who he was. A lot of it had to do with Indiana State being such a tiny school, and the legend was building. But I'm telling you, most people really still around the country were like, yeah, he'll be, he might get drafted because he's 6'9" and he can make a shot. That was really the extent of it. Red Auerbach knew. And yes, 100% right. The rest of the country did not, for the most part. All righty, we are going to move on to our Suns Legend of the Day. We're going down the top 15 that we together picked as a Suns latest little family. So we did the top 15 guys. We are at number 13, and Alvin Adams came in at number 13. Alvin Adams is here on the Supreme Court Nike poster. That's Alvin Adams. The Oklahoma kid, Alvin Adams, Rookie of the Year, 1975-76. The first Rookie of the Year the Suns ever had. Coach John McLeod had coached him at Oklahoma and drafted him. He knew better than anybody what Alvin Adams could bring. All-star as a rookie. Starting center, Suns Western Conference champs, 76 finals team as a rookie. One of the greatest passing centers of all time, and that gets overlooked a lot. Ring of Honor, number 33, retired by the Suns. So Alvin Adams is one of the more controversial top 15 guys, where a lot of people think he's just outside of it. And I put him at 13. And there's still some arguing about Alvin Adams. A lot of people, and one of you really pointed out something interesting. Said Adams was never as good as he was in his first year, and that is a fact. He didn't go way down. He just didn't have the impact that he had in his rookie year because no one had seen an undersized center play with his back to the basket, going up against Kareem 6 times a year, going up against guys like Artis Gilmore and Bob Lanier, and eventually Dave Cowens in the finals, another undersized center, and do really well against them. Alvin Adams was, 6'9", 235, maybe 240 at his biggest for his entire 13 years in the league, all with the Suns. And Alvin Adams did what you asked him to do. Alvin Adams was as steady as anybody. He was a very accomplished offensive player. He wasn't spectacular, but he had a good first step. He could dunk on your head, took very high percentage shots. And once again, the first half of his rookie season, his passing screwed up everybody. And that is what gave the Suns their basis to how they were going to play, how they were going to get far in the playoffs. Because they had Alvin Adams, rookie, Ricky Sobers, rookie, Curtis Perry. He had played with Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the Bucks in their title team, but he was a good player, wasn't a great player. And Garfield Hurd, very undersized power forward, but a tenacious, mean mofo who got a lot of rebounds and was he was probably the toughest guy in the league pound for pound. A 6'6", 6'7" power forward. Yeah. And muscular, but not giant. So, and then Paul Westphal. We're not going to get into Westphal. So that's the team that gets to the finals, and in my humble opinion, took the Celtics to the floor. And we had it won. And I've gone over this many times. So the second half of Alvin Adams' rookie season, at least guys in the West kind of figured him out. And then they started playing passing lanes against him. And I noticed that, and it was like, Alvin Adams is not having the best second half. Is not having as good a second half of the season as he is in his first season. And it's also guys just said, oh, just bang him. He's small. At the same time, 13 years later, he's still with the Suns, mostly a starter until like his last couple of years. And the one or two times where he was forced to play power forward, I was like, Coach McLeod, get off your high horse and keep him at power forward. I honestly believe Alvin Adams would have been a 4 to 5-time All-Star if he had stayed at power forward. He was so much more suited for that position. So what he did to start off his career was legendary. A rookie in the All-Star game and then getting his team to the finals and pretty much, as we've talked about, winning it. Alvin Adams comes in at number 13 on the top 15, and he is your Suns Legend of the Day. I appreciate you watching. This has been Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin. We will do this again tomorrow, and let me know if you went to FanFest and give me a comment so I can talk about your experience at FanFest because I didn't get to go. Thanks a lot, man.